Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Hearthstone has decided to celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year and give us a gold card. We'll look at it here in a second, but also take note that we have a 100 gold plus 100 dust quest, a 60 gold plus 60 dust quest, and then I assume this was the one I was sitting on before, so I might actually get these quests done and find out that I get another one, because they may very well have given everybody 3 quests today, which is cool. Steam is also having a Lunar New Year sale. Spend $30, get $5 off. They got me 1 penny short. I had spent $29.99, and because the cheapest thing you can buy on Steam, as far as a game at least, is 49 cents, I had to spend $30.48, but then I got $5 off, so I spent $25.48. Not a terrible deal. There's also a couple of badges through tokens you get. There's a badge, and I leveled it up twice after buying that, and then I spent the rest of the tokens just getting pig emoticons, which almost certainly will be banned from use by this time next year. I mean, it's really dumb. I know it's Year of the Pig and all that, but just think for a second, Steam. Like, every time there's a woman on chat on Steam, there will be jerks spamming the pig. Every time anybody sounds like they are of any religion that finds pigs unclean animals, whether Jewish or Muslim or whatever, that emoticon is going to get spammed like crazy. So, I mean, I don't know what else you do other than, probably a smart thing would have been to do is just say, we have a fireworks emoji, several different fireworks emojis that can be in Steam Chat. Now, I don't know how many people really use Steam Chat anyways. I don't, certainly, but I mean, it's just not well thought out. Yeah, you could also have done Chinese lanterns, you could have done dumplings, you could have done things that would have been useful every year, quite frankly, instead of making new art. The sale is also on Steam, a pathetic reminder of how bad the Chinese video game development market is, because they barely could scrape together 9, maybe 12 games from Chinese game developers that they could promote and put on sale. Everything else, it's they put games made by Chinese developers below just games that are on sale in general, and the games that are made from Chinese developers, most of them I've never heard of, even though these were their top tier picks. And that is the problem, is like, I couldn't really tell you of any good Chinese developed games that don't just fall directly into, it's probably developed by a Western developer owned by Tencent or NetEase game, and they're not gonna promote, of course, Fortnite or something that's not actually on Steam. So then that puts Valve and Steam in a weird position where they could just kind of generically promote Asian-ish games, and they tried to do that. Certainly they didn't call it Chinese New Year sale, they said Lunar New Year sale to be more open-ended. I'm not sure if anybody would really buy that. Like, I think most Asians, I'd have to really ask a lot of Asian people from other countries whether they think it's a Lunar New Year or it's a Chinese New Year, and if they went back 100 years in their history, were their people still calling it the Lunar New Year, or were they calling it the Chinese New Year? Because I think probably, and this is the thing Chinese people say all the time, is historically everything came out of China. I think probably Chinese New Year historically did come out of China, but of course they claim a lot of things that definitely didn't. Let's see, we got some mods here. I would have, for the sale on Steam, just promoted AAA games and games that are on a big discount, and I would have shown more games, or I wouldn't have highlighted any games, and I would have just said mini games are on sale. Here, click here to see what's on sale on your wish list, and then just have it click right to your wish list. But I guess a lot of people don't use a wish list, so maybe just click here to see random games on sale. Having a special landing page and not really spending any effort on it just seems like a waste of time for Steam. But of course, this isn't a big sale too. That's why I only spend $30, is because $30 then getting $5 off is a pretty good discount on top of games that are already discounted. But most of the games I bought were tiny 49-cent games that go on sale all the time. So these cards have changed. Cold Blood is now 2 mana. Flame Tongue Totem, which I think had been modified already, is now 3 mana. Hunter's Mark is now 2 mana. Equality is now 4 mana. And Lesser Emerald Spellstone is now 6 mana. So that kind of sucks. Let's re-roll this. There you go. A magical year. 20 spells, 25 turns. I can get all of these done easily. And all I really need to do is play the Tavern Brawl. And we really don't have a lot of news today either, which isn't super surprising. So I imagine we did get a glut of games that wanted to come out around the Chinese New Year, and that has now kind of fallen down. So we have Fireworks Tech, give a friendly mech +1/+1, or take 100 dust from it right now. And I'll just take 100 dust, because I'm not going to keep any gold cards. Call of the Void, and we have a Lipinome, which I can take 50 dust for him, too. And I guess there might be a point where I might have some other extras. All cards, extras, no results. Okay. So our count, this collection is nice and set. And we're on this, and I guess there wasn't a new card back they wanted to give. It feels like there would have been a card back last year for the new year. This might be a slight indicator. It would be ever so small, ever so slight an indicator that Hearthstone is no longer targeting the Chinese market, because that was what Ben Brode seemed like he was doing more than anything, is trying to convince more Chinese people to play Hearthstone. Not seeing anything here that looks like it's Chinese New Year related though. So I guess that's not what they were committing to. It's another card back. Alright. Let's see what the Tavern Brawl is. Let's see. Help Yogg-Saron find a servant. Your deck is full of wannabes who cast random spells with a random target when played. Is there anyone specifically I want to play as? No, then I guess I'll just play as the warrior. Wait time 1 minute and 58 seconds. Wait time 6 seconds to 1 minute. 11 seconds to 1 minute. Look at this, it's gonna keep going up. So this is an attempt to not infuriate people, I imagine, but this is ridiculous, certainly. To have the wait time just always move up as you wait longer. Because eventually here, what's going to happen is somebody's going to wait more than a minute, and it's going to say from 1 minute to 2 minutes, and it's just going to keep making up things, because the truth is that it doesn't have a clue. I don't know how a server would even be able to know how long the wait time would be. It seems like we did wait exactly a minute, and then we were given a hyper high priority.
Gul'dan versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine. I am your nightmare.
Okay, what do we want to do here? These are all pretty high characters, so let's just roll those out. I'm still playing 60 seconds, but the game is so long, like, because I'm just playing one run through per episode, and I'm only gonna make like 5 episodes at this rate because I'm bored with it. It doesn't really have any variety with it. It's super long. It's not that good of an idea, or it's a kind of good idea that's just implemented badly. Okay. What was that? So everything we play is just going to summon something or do something crazy, cast a spell. Major Nelson of Xbox, head of Xbox, promoted that he's giving out on Xbox Live Crackdown 1, which is like the second or third time that they've given away on Xbox Live or Xbox Games Pass Crackdown 1, but Crackdown 2 has not been made backwards compatible or anything, and so a lot of people are complaining about that and saying, when are we going to get Crackdown 2? Now, I don't think Crackdown 2 is particularly an amazingly good game. As somebody who played it, but there's I could see a reason, just for historical reasons I'd want to go back and play it. But I responded to him, and I assume if anybody looks at my response on Twitter, it's gonna be some secretary or something. I was like, actually, I'd like to see Crackdown 1 come to Steam, and frankly, I'm willing to pay for it, even if you bundled it with Crackdown 2 and made it some more expensive than usual. So if they came out with like Crackdown 1 and 2, all the DLC, and it was $25 to, I'd say at max $50 for the 2 old games, I'd pay for it. If they just came out with Crackdown 1 on Steam and it was all the DLC, I'd probably be willing to pay, I think $20 to maybe even $30 as a base thing, maybe then going on sale. I don't think I'd be willing to pay more than $30 for such an old game with whatever DLC was on it, if there was DLC. It depends a lot on the DLC too. And it doesn't have to be a lot of work done to it, frankly, just make it run smoothly. You don't have to...
was a mistake.
You know, in my mind, you don't have to really have it blow people out of the water and render the entirety of the 3 islands that are in Crackdown 1. Like, the view distance could be the same, the amount of RAM it uses could be the same. Everything could be just, here's a PC port of how the game ran there. Really probably don't have to upgrade the graphics or do anything like that. Yeah, I'd be fine if Microsoft just wanted to test the waters and see how well it sold, because it might not sell that well before maybe 4 to 10 to 7 years from now. If it succeeded very much, you would maybe do a remaster on PC. Apparently, whatever this hashtag the Hunt 2019 streaming thing that's benefiting St. Jude that Gearbox is promoting is still happening. Let's see.
So many possibilities.
Draw a card. Play taunt.
Why do you call?
Do that. Do this. Play that.
Job's done.
Okay, well that did something. Team YouTube just tweeted 22 minutes ago, what do you want to know about YouTube recommendations? The product team will be responding to your questions, feedback, and features. Request this Friday, and our community help. The thing particularly that that people would want to know about YouTube recommendations is who's in charge of it, what are the rules to be recommended on YouTube, and I assume this is trending, particularly and not just the algorithm based recommendations. I would like to know how that algorithm really works, but I don't think YouTube knows how it works, and I don't think it really does work. I think it's just kind of randomized, garbage in, garbage out for some percentage of it. Yeah, and personally as a YouTuber, if I was wanting any real information, it would really have to be some kind of inside tracked bit of information that only I got and nobody else. Because anything short of that is pretty useless. Alright.
Job's done.
Let's see. The International Game Developers Association, the IGDA, retweeted somebody who was promoting a convention focused on LGBTQ plus gamers and games called GaymerX, GAYMERX, East 2019. Fair enough.
So many.
Although I think probably some people would have a problem with this, what I assume is a stock image of what I would say are probably 10-year-old. It looks like it might be all boys sitting around playing some kind of board game. Like, yeah, that has consistently been an issue with the gay community for decades now, and that's why gay bars are probably the only social organization out there that they actively had to fight against accusations of being attracting, grooming children, and thus they would often, almost always, it's 18 plus or older. And there's some truth to some of that. Certainly there have been children abused that have then turned out to be gay, as much as there have been children abused that have turned out to be straight. Milo Yiannopoulos being a exact example of saying the wrong thing there. OpenCritic retweeted somebody who says, I don't even know what this conversation is. Take-Two said its unannounced 2K game due to launch this fiscal 2020 before March 31st is still on track. And then somebody replied, got to be Borderlands 3. If I recall, when Jason reported on the new BioShock game, which was likely early 2018. He also mentioned they're still figuring out the core gameplays. And why this specific guy is kind of being signal boosted in what could be called a just total assumption. Excuse me, sorry.
Your soul.
I'm like wearing out my voice. I'm wearing out my voice badly. Today would be a good day to take a break. Although yesterday was also a day I took a break and didn't really record anything. I have a growing concern about just wearing out my voice totally and having to take months, if not years, off of not talking.
Everyone has demons.
Let's see. Let's see. Who is this guy? Open link. That's not gonna work. I have to kind of move the cursor, drag it this way to hover over his name. Well, he's followed by Jeff Keighley and 11 others, so whoever, and he has a One Punch Man avatar. That's about all I can say, but he must be some kind of industry insider of some sort, in the sense that he works in the industry.
Total corruption, total power.
Yeah, Borderlands 3 certainly could come out in 2020. It could come out earlier. It kind of needs to come out pretty quickly. 1 damage to everybody. How are we gonna do this?
Behold the absolute power of Wilfred Sizzleback.
That was worthless. I can't draw any cards. I can't do anything. I've lost. Yep.
You face Jaraxxus, Eladar Lord of the Burning Legion.
To be fair, in the previous story about Gamer X, I don't think you probably should bring young 10, 12-year-olds to PAX either. Quite frankly, I wouldn't take them to Comic-Con. Maybe, maybe not. I'd certainly be with them if I was a parent. I'd have at least one parent, if not two parents, looking at them at all times. But these are just not really super kid-friendly or kid-focused conventions in the first place. You're gonna have a lot of teenagers. You're gonna have a lot of just adults. Hey, there is a card back marked by Hakari. Your card back has been corrupted. Use it to spread the corruption. Interesting. So apparently we're doing some backstory here to explain what we've got. And see, that just, let's see, look out, this card back's gone viral. Acquired from encountering another player with the mark of hardcore card back in play mode. So this is probably some backstory. I assume that that's what this is, and this isn't something new, really old. Alright. We made decent progress, even though we didn't win on all of the daily quests. Hunter, maybe? We'll try that. With all the crazy spells happening. Although, frankly, I should probably take Mage. Yeah, wouldn't it make more sense to just play mage here? Let's do that. Yeah. If you're gonna take kids to a convention, I would probably say a Lego convention is probably one of the best ones to take them to. A Pokemon, like little gathering Pokemon tournament, alright. It's a little centered around Pokemon and fighting each other, but it's not terrible. I wouldn't take kids though to a local convention. I wouldn't take them to PAX. And you're certainly going to have a scenario where bad parents, lazy parents bring their kids to those things anyways, but I wouldn't take a kid anywhere that there's going to be cosplaying, particularly, unless you're just super open and liberal. So I wouldn't take them to an anime convention. Yeah. I'm not sure I'd even want to take kids to like Disney on Ice. I recall I went to like Mortal Kombat, some kind of Mortal Kombat stage play thing back when Mortal Kombat was a big thing, and I was probably too young to have gone to that when that was happening, and this must have been around Mortal Kombat 2, maybe 3, and there were definitely kids younger than that. Amusement parks still exist. Circuses kind of don't exist anymore. Petting zoos, probably a great place to take kids, but yeah, there's just a lot of danger of getting sick or getting lost, getting kidnapped. I'd want to be a little bit more conservative on that, and just being exposed to things that are just not focused to it. Even when you go to a Lego convention, from the ones I've seen, there's definitely a heavier focus on showing off Lego sets that have been custom built by adults or groups of adults to other adults, more than showing off Lego to little kids. There was something I just thought of. What was it? Oh yeah, there's pinball conventions. I think pinball is a great game for little kids because all you have to do is slap the two buttons and flippers and makes lots of noise and sound. So I would suggest maybe a pinball convention if you can get to one, or an old school arcade convention if you could go get one, but yeah. Let's see, what else? We might as well start covering the news, I guess. Like, I really don't have a ton, so I think we may run into a situation here where it's going to be a shorter stream if I don't stretch things out, and I don't see a real reason to stretch things out. This guy's not even playing, so that means by the time I very possibly am going to win here, and then that'll just be that.
This document looks legally valid. Job's done.
Oh, come on, hit this guy once. At the very least, if you're going to do that amount of damage, you can do that. So GameIndustry.biz has an article. Warface team splits from Crytek to form Blackwood Games. The new studio will take over and continue development of the Warface franchise going forward. So, there we go. Today, a development team at Crytek Kiev behind the free-to-play shooter Warface has been announced. It will be parting ways with Crytek and forming a separate studio, Blackwood Games. Now, the way this kind of feels like is that it's probably not a a company that is just leaving and taking their
Unity.
taking a license to a game that they probably don't have the rights to. This feels more like what it is that Blackwood Games is probably a subsidiary or a spin-off of the parent company, and this probably, if I was to guess, is the beginning of the end for Warface. They're spinning it off to another company so that they can then shut down that company and lay off all the employees in a relatively short amount of time. Like, I don't even know what Warface is, so it can't be that big. Let's see. Warface is currently published by My.com in North American Europe. My.com had previously published games from launch in Russia and other nearby regions. This quote here was a... So yeah, this does not strike me as something that... There we go, victory. Like, so it says, quote, "It was a tough decision to leave Crytek out for all these years, but sometimes you need to change and evolve. It's very important for us to focus on developing Warface in a way that lives up to players' expectation. We have kept development team intact, and their expertise will allow us to move forward with our plans and ideas. We're very thankful to Crytek for all the great years together and for their commendable support of the move." The only real other way you could put a spin on this and editorialize, ooh, good fortune, 60 dust. Good fortune, 60 gold. Is possibly, and just possibly, Crytek is the one in trouble, not Warface. Which there might be something. The Crytek engine, I don't think is particularly... Wouldn't it be funny if this card back gave us bad cards from card packs? That would really suck though. Like that would be unfair and possibly illegal in some areas if it changed the loot box drop rate. Yeah, Crytek does need to turn out a new Cry engine and probably a new Crisis game. Spells. So if I just play Spell Hunter on this, I should be fine. But had I known, I guess it really wouldn't have changed much. Everything here is gonna work just fine. Yeah. It's questionable now, though, why you would make a game with the Crisis engine or the Cry engine over the Unreal engine or the Unity engine.
Let the hunt begin.
Or some in-house other engine that nobody knows anything about. Let's see. Wandering Monster is kind of not even the card you need for your first secret. TechRaptor has a article. I guess I need to play on my other account, by the way, to get that card back. TechRaptor has another article. OpenCritic is now flagging games which contain loot boxes, so there will be a new badge. I wonder if that means that I will see those badges within the Steam plugin that I have installed that sometimes pulls the information from OpenCritic. I imagine maybe. Depends on how much, if that plugin needs to be updated and if it has been updated. So even early on here, I think everybody has corrupted card back. So you would just... The only people that won't have the corrupted card back are people that literally have not played Hearthstone in a very long time. And in fact, I think very possibly everybody would get it. Because if it's just your card back gets corrupted as soon as you play somebody that has it, if everybody else has it, then that would be that. Alright, look at the top 3 cards, and let's take that. Do that. Tech Raptor's quick take to the loot boxes is most consumers agree they don't want loot boxes in their games, and it's great to see a big site like OpenCritic take a definitive stand by warning people of their inclusion in titles. Hopefully it'll give more developers and publishers pause for thought before they decide to include such detrimental monetization mechanics in their video games. So yeah, sounds good. Like, now Metacritic would, if Metacritic were to follow suit, that would be a much bigger deal, however. And I think there are other factors, particularly EA not making a lot of money recently after the whole Battlefront debacle and Shadow of Mordor, or whatever it was called, debacle. Like, EA is very possibly showing that it's not a smart move to go that route. Go the loot box route. That being said, there's still probably a lot of companies that that are making a lot of money from loot boxes and are examples of its success. So pressure needs to stay on and stay vigilant to not spend money on loot boxes. There might be some stories I don't have and won't report on today. This is a stupid thing to say out loud, but I saw something that it was the title of a video from a YouTuber who is sometimes clickbaity with his titles, so I want to get the full facts before I throw out spurious accusations, or so yeah, just leave it at that for now. Alright, we want to do this. I want to do this. This and that. Moving on, Tech Raptor has an article. Sam speaks with Chain Awesome Games about aftercharge and robotic balance. This is some kind of interview about some games I don't know anything about, so that article is there if you're interested, but they're probably talking about games that aren't anywhere close to being released either. Returning back to EA, Gamma Sutra has an article. EA will lean harder on Anthem and Apex Legends after a, quote, difficult quarter. I haven't talked about Apex Legends so far. I saw people playing it, and I think I actually fell asleep while trying to watch people play it, or changed it because it was just not, I stopped watching the video because it just looks like it's another like hero based battle royale game, so there's really nothing there special that interests me. Let's face it, unless it did something extremely extreme, and it does. I think Apex Legends do have a like execution moves some of which I think you buy for like skins, and they're really expensive. So like there's some of that, but there definitely are some skins that are like selling for $20. I'm gonna save this, but yeah, Apex Legends doesn't strike me as anything interesting, and there's a question about whether there's enough room for another battle royale game, and whether popularity is growing or staying the same or actually going down for battle royale games. Also, Apex Legends is set in the Titanfall universe and is kind of a bait and switch announcement to also say, oh, by the way, we're also not making Titanfall 3 at the moment, and we haven't been working on it up until this point. Let's see. This guy's gonna do 6 damage.
I hunt alone. Job done.
Probably should just hit the face there. Anthem, on the other hand, also there's been a lack of interest on the Anthem. Okay, do this.
The eternal hunt has begun.
Adjacents get +1/+1, and poisonous and rush. Kill that.
Job done.
In the turn. So the article from Game Searcher goes, Electronic Arts published its latest earnings reports today, and it's weaker than expected third quarter based on the fact that the company had lowered its revenue outlook for the future. Based on that fact, the company has lowered its revenue outlook. EA shares went down 9% following the news. The company lowered projections for its full year adjusted revenue from $5.2 billion to $4.75 billion, attributing the cut to a challenging third quarter, which ended December 31st. So this is Battlefield, Battlefront, and whatever else EA tried to sell during that time. There's a quote here. Poisonous Rush. Let's do this. There we go. The video game industry continues to grow through the year of intense competition and transformative change, the chief executive Andrew Wilson said. Q3 was a difficult quarter for EA, and we did not perform to our expectations. Despite launching Battlefield 5 in November, the game showed a similar launch window with Red Dead Redemption 2, which everybody on Giant Bomb has apparently stopped playing, and I think that's kind of right in line with everybody else's. Red Dead was attractive but didn't have any real staying power. Let's see. Armor and Echo and Rush. Okay. Kill that guy, and we'll kill a snake in the turn. This is explosive trap, I didn't need to do that. Anyways, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 also came out during that same time frame. Wilson admits Battlefield 5 didn't meet expectations, but mentions focusing on long-term live services for players. Quote, "We are very excited about Apex Legends, the upcoming launch of Anthem, and a deep lineup of new experiences that will bring a global communities next fiscal year." Yeah. So what will be interesting to see here, Honors, Ones, Elders, all of these are like Lunar New Year sayings or ideas. Need to play 3 more spells. It'll be interesting to see where Apex Legends falls. Is it going to be between Fortnite, PUBG, or way down below the Battleborn? The truth is, as far as a hero-based Battle Royale game, that makes it most like Battleborn. And if Overwatch hadn't come out so close to Battleborn, then it would have probably been a success. I guess Overwatch is also somewhat in the same vein, although Overwatch's maps are not Battle Royale style, and its gameplay is not Battle Royale style. Yeah, we don't need any of these cards. But much like Red Dead, I could see Apex Legends being fun and interesting to people for a short time because it's free, and then eventually people just move on to the next big thing whenever that happens. The fact that it's free means A, a lot of people will get into it, but also B, a lot of people will quickly fall out of it too as soon as there's something else newer and shinier. Let's see. TechRaptor has another article. Experience Halo like never before with Halo Outpost Discovery. What is this? Coming this summer, Halo Outpost Discovery is a real-life interactive exhibit with a plethora of interactive activities. Oh yeah, and where is this going to be?
I wonder.
Let's see. Start with that, I guess. Let's see. It says the whole event is said to take up 300,000 square feet. Let's see. Halo Outpost Discovery is going to be featured all across the United States this summer, starting in Orlando on Friday, July 5th, and lasting throughout the weekend. You can see a full list of times as well as where to buy tickets on the official website, although the tickets are not inexpensive, which means they are expensive. This sounds like a crazy idea, quite frankly. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that one too.
Job done.
Mind if I roll need?
So there's a trailer here, but this feels like this is just a promo, almost like wandering museum set up to promote a Halo game that, I mean, we know the next Halo game is in the works, so this probably is just straight up advertising for the next Halo game that probably will come out within weeks of this finally not happening anymore. This event. But also this could just be a total attempt. They're gonna have laser tag and VR. This thing feels like it's an event designed to milk Halo fans, who at this point I would hope are not the ravenous teenagers or college bros they used to be. So Yeah, the trailer just listed 5 places too, so it's like a 5 weekend thing. So I don't know. I imagine a lot of Halo fans of old have now kids of their own. They've moved on. They've done something different with their lives. They're not that much of, not so much into Halo that they'd want to go to a almost museum presentation of Halo. They'll probably still buy the game and still play it, but I don't think it's kind of unlikely that you would have been able to leave the fans hanging for the Halo franchise for so long and not have a lot of them just move on. It'd be like if Steam or Valve came out and said, hey, we're gonna have a Half-Life event just talking about Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. I think a lot of people who were fans of Half-Life 1 or Half-Life 2 would not go to that event. That being said, there probably would be a decent amount of people that would still come just on the assumption that Half-Life 3 is going to get announced. So yeah, that's an odd way to advertise, and it has some bigger implications certainly, because it almost implies that Microsoft does not know how to advertise new games anymore.
Incredible.
Which might very well be the case. Like, it's been a while. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. New World Interactive to open a new studio. This is the developers behind Insurgency Sandstorm. They're opening a new studio in Calgary, Canada. And they'll be hiring on May 15th in all disciplines. So I guess if you wanted to go be a janitor, if that's your skill set for a video game company, man, that would be probably a nightmare. Like, just being a janitor, being the security guard, working in a video game company but not working in any kind of creative aspect at all. Like, and that's probably not true. I imagine nearly 100% of all video game companies hire out services that hire other people through those third-party services to do all the housekeeping type stuff and security stuff. Let's see. The studio was originally founded in 2010 by a team of Half-Life 2 mod of the Half-Life 2 mod Insurgency Modern Infantry Combat. So this is a team that was based off of a bunch of modders, I guess. Which, cool. A magical year, 60 spells. Now, I'm not familiar about the what is it? The different animals and years of as we move over to the European account of the Lunar New Year. I'm not sure if there actually is a year that's not excited and supposed to be lucky. What is the worst year to be born on? Year of the Rat, or like that's something I'd have to really think about it, and it's probably more than likely it's written differently, that if you're born on the Year of Rat, you're strong and self-reliant, but if you're born on the Year of the Pig, you're cheerful and well liked, and it's just always positive things and there never are some negative things, which is what the whole idea of fortune cookies and how they're written are too, is it's just throwing out a bunch of things that could apply to anybody and making people feel like it applies specifically to them and only them. I guess it's worth re-rolling this for the dust. Alright, so take 15 turns, play 5 minions that cost 1, play 20 spells and do the Tavern Brawl. Alright, beasts would be hunter, so I'm thinking maybe I'll run into a lot of 1 minions on that. 1 cost minions, probably not. Let me read this.
Rexar versus Malfurion.
I must protect the wild.
Let the hunt begin.
Alright, trade out all of these. We're looking for 1 mana minions. Didn't get any. Alright. Tech Raptor has an article. Here we go. Ah, I didn't know that these would work that way. We'll see if Well Played also does that. Tech Raptor has an article. Here's how to organize all the different PC launchers into Steam. Let's see. Let's see. There's a bit of talking about the state of PC launchers right now, it says. So if you want to skip straight to how to organize your library, scroll down. On the PC, the list of game clients that might have been installed on your system likely includes Steam, the biggest of the bunch, released back in 2003 originally, a DRM tool for Valve release games. Only, that was originally all it was. And people kind of hated it from what I hear during that time. Because it was just DRM, but it grew to do so much more. Origin is the second one. If you want to play a game made by EA, this is it. From any sports game you could have want to the highly anticipated Anthem. Good Old Games Galaxy, that list, that one is higher than I think it should be. I think Uplay should be the next one. Unless, of course, I'm just really off on how many people play Ubisoft games. Right. This guy does 2 damage, does he not? Magnetic and poisonous. What am I trying to do here? Good Old Games Galaxy, originally the place to go for PC, classic PC releases made digital. The Good Old Games storefront now offers plenty of modern games too. It's also DRM free, which is a big plus for many gamers. I could see maybe why that's higher, but it really shouldn't be above the Epic Store, the Uplay Store, the Bethesda Store, the Battle.net Store. So yeah, I don't need to read the description for all of these, or we can whittle this down. The next on their list is the Epic Store, which I guess technically I do have installed, but I haven't used since the very first time it came out. Like, then the next on their list is Uplay for Ubisoft games, Bethesda.net for Bethesda games, Battle.net, or Battle.net is what they're saying it's called. Is it really just called Battle.net? For Blizzard and Activision games, which, again, I think Battle.net should be higher than Bethesda and Good Old Games, and probably even the Epic Store. Overwatch is a big game, or Heroes of the Storm, or World of Warcraft. The Windows Store for Xbox games, primarily, funnily enough. Everybody by default has the Windows Store installed on Windows 10, I think, but that doesn't mean anybody's using it.
Bow to the fang and claw.
There we go. There's a bunch of one.
Aim and fire.
Job done.
And then they say Discord. Wait, what are you doing on the list? You sell games too? You have exclusives? And the list goes on and on. Alright. So it says stage 1, gather up all your tools and put them in one box. Make sure that the game you want to add to Steam is currently installed on your computer. Yes, it's a bit of a shame that this will only work with installed games, but if it's this just allowed to keep track of your libraries, everyone would be doing it. I don't understand that sense, but if this just allowed you to keep track of all your libraries, everybody would do it. And see, that's ideally where I'd like to see some potential even law that says, hey, no, you have to work together, companies, and thus you have to tell each other what games are in your library. What games are in each other's libraries and integrate. Just gonna leave that alone. Hover over any games on top of your client and hover over games on top of your client and select add a non-Steam game to my library. See, this seems like this is just a really long tutorial about how to add a non-Steam game to your library. And then stage 2 says make them look all pretty together.
One for the boss, two.
Which seems like they're just promoting use of the game, the software depressurize. But no, they haven't even mentioned depressurize. Yeah, now option C is use depressurize, which is the newest versions. Alright, it does still feel like you run into a pretty high chance of screwing yourself up and ruining any kind of organization you had before if you use depressurize. Otherwise, I think you're fine. And then stage 3 says everything looks pretty, but why did I do it in the first place? Yeah, this is a pretty terrible article. It's really long. It's got a decent number of screenshots, but it probably needed to be a video. And it's really not saying anything that I think people didn't know. Interesting. I could attack, or I can just maintain this stealth. So yeah, that's a pretty worthless article. I spent way too much on this. GameIndustry.biz has the same article. Insurgency developer New World Interactive opens a Canadian studio in Calgary, Canada.
I have returned.
It is the first quarter, so it does make a lot of sense that people would be hiring new people, opening new offices, and by this time, at the end of the year, or yeah, by the end of the year, people will be closing offices and shutting down. Let's see. Attack a minion after your opponent plays it. Is that what I want to do? Double damage and healing power. Sure, let's see if this works. Okay. And play that. Should have played this. Should have played that a long time ago. Alright, what do we want to do? Let's just come close to winning, if not win. Do I have an explosive trap? No, but I do have an ice block, so odds of me losing is extremely low. Gamatsu has an article, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered launches March 29th. Available both as a standalone or via an Assassin's Creed Odyssey Season Pass. It is coming out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Season Pass, and for the PS4 and Xbox One as retail standalone releases. So apparently the PC version does exist. The question will just come down to, will the Uplay automatically upgrade people who already owns Assassin's Creed 3 like me? Because this is what has put me in a holding pattern specifically, because I would be playing Assassin's Creed 3 right now if it weren't for the fact that this relaunch. Let's see. And I guess we're gonna get the card back for everybody, each account. A lot of noises there. And how are we doing here? We need to play spells, which either I played 0 spells or 6 spells. That looks like 0. So we need to play Spell Hunter. Let's see. I could use a nice epic or legendary for the European and Asian accounts, but no such luck. See, that would be kind of interesting, is if they came back and said, oh, during the Lunar New Year the drop rates were higher, so now's the time for you to spend that money. Disenchant that for the dust immediately. That's not new. That's not new. Alright. And card back. Alright. Tempo Mage. Or where's the hunter? Mid-range hunter. Let's look at the mid-range hunter just for a second to see how many spells he has. I guess we're gonna play Tempo Mage, which will give us a little bit of a variety. Yeah. I'm not skyrocketing up in the ranks so far. It's only been like one day that I've played, but yeah, there's definitely something there that's kind of irritating. I don't know why it's working that way, but it is. Gamatsu has an article, Samurai Warriors 5 development in the trial and error phase, announcement due by 2020. Enjoy another Samurai Warriors 4 release in the meantime. This is a subtitle. Trial and error phase is a weird way for that to be translated from Japanese. I have to say that's not something that would be said in the Western world. You would call it in the alpha phase, pre-alpha, that made-up concept, or beta phase if it really isn't the beta phase, but I don't think it is. I think if you're the closest equivalent you would say is trial and error phase means it's alpha because they haven't locked down all the features yet, so they're trying things out. Let's see. Let's see. Is Konami behind Samurai Warriors? Not really. Doesn't seem like it. It's Koei Tecmo. Okay. I really don't have enough knowledge of Koei Tecmo to know if they're doing well for their releases or if they're in a bind. But yeah, they're putting out Samurai Warriors 4 DX, and people who like the Warriors games will probably play it. I think they're kind of in a bind because the last Dynasty Warriors game was not well received. Let's see. Spell damage +2.
Science overwhelmed.
Let's take that.
Start right.
Job's done.
Let's see. Gematsu has another article. Daedalic Entertainment to announce 6 new titles in the coming weeks. Publisher promises the biggest year ever, including in-house AAA productions. Seems like Daedalic tried to go the route of big ticket, like really big ticket development of games in some of their previous releases, but they didn't quite succeed. Like, I'm not 100% sure I have confidence in Daedalic being able to make great games. As somebody who's played all 4 of the 4 Deponia games, and I know they just released one on Switch, the 3rd game in the Deponia series, which probably did give them a little bit of money to continue the development, but I'm not, like, they've just been this weird German point-and-click developer, and all of their games end on like sad notes usually. Everything I played has. Although I did just buy in this Lunar sale more Daedalic point-and-click adventures, so I'm willing to see them out, but I think by the time I play all their games, I also will obviously I very possibly will say, oh, okay, I've done this to myself. I knew I was probably not going to be satisfied, and it turns out I'm not satisfied. And games don't have to have a happy ending. It's kind of expected, at least in part. Let's see if there's anything more in this article. Let's see. Apparently, a variety of genres, including a turn-based RPG, a cooperative roguelike, a survival MMO, and a classic adventure game. That tells me that Daedalic has potentially
Well played.
Well played.
so we don't actually get the fireworks.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, champion.
So we can do this. We can do this. We can do this.
Incredible discovery.
I was possibly could have done that differently and played one more spell. Let's see. Yeah, they have to be going the publishing route. To really believe Daedalic has been working on a RPG, a cooperative roguelike, a survival MMO, and a classic adventure all by themselves seems crazy. Let's see. Some of these games are definitely going to have to fail. Let's see. There's a quote here. Naturally, we have closely monitored the shift towards games as service in the last few years, and a big part of our lineup fits that approach perfectly. Which means, very possibly, none of these 6 games are actually going to be finished in any way. We want to, another quote here, we want to offer players high quality content for these games over months and years after release. They kind of had to do something different because they were done with the Deponia series after the 3rd game. And the 4th game, Deponia Doomsday, feels like it's made by a completely different team and was just buying them time. And if it weren't for the Deponia point-and-click adventure series, there wouldn't be any reason to even talk about Daedalic. It would just be the small, an incredibly small niche point-and-click adventure game maker, and it still kind of is just that. I'm just gonna hold on. The CEO or whoever they were interviewing says Daedalic still plans to deliver its trademark adventure games throughout the year. Quote, adventure has always been a cornerstone of our success. Our community can look forward to some of the most popular and iconic titles becoming available for consoles throughout the year. So yeah, we kind of already knew that. The Goodbye Deponia, the third adventure in the Deponia series, launched for the PS4 and the Xbox One on January 30th. Intruders Hide and Seek, a PlayStation VR compatible thriller developed by the Madrid-based Tessera Studios, will be the first of many new Daedalic publishing titles to come, which launched February 13th. And see, I think, yeah, this is interesting. Like, it would be pure baseless speculation, but I wonder if Daedalic, as a German company, I'm pretty sure they're a German company, might be benefiting in some small way from Brexit. Like, certainly I could see companies in the UK just leaving straight for Germany or other parts of the European Union and shifting their partnerships around because of that. Let's move on to the next bit of news. We haven't really looked at any games yet at all. We're just going through the news. I don't know why this is particularly video game release related, but GameIndustry.biz has an article. HMV, the Canadian retail store, has been saved from collapse by Sunrise Records, is the title. Can we do this?
Starlight.
And that. Hey, that worked.
Job's done.
The Canadian retailer will buy 100 stores, but 27 branches and 455 jobs will be lost. Let's see. HMV entered administration just before days after Christmas, which is like bankruptcy. I guess HMV just sells a lot of video games as a retail store. They might be the GameStop equivalent to the equivalent to GameStop in the United States, where GameStop and Walmart are kind of the big ticket video game retailers, and GameStop is pretty much only video game focused. So if GameStop was to go out of business, which it very possibly will go out of business by the end of this year, that would be a slightly big deal. There are still plenty of parents out there who are not willing to order video games online, or who are not really super hyped on their kids playing video games in the first place. So if kids can't drag their parents to a physical location and say, buy this for me, it's right here, come on, do it, don't think about it, don't think of any excuses, just buy it. If the kids can't nag them, if the kids can't get into a store, that's probably going to be lesser sales. Although one would make a very good argument that consumerism like that and designing products that are at least in part designed to make kids nag their parents into buying things is not good for society in general. On the other hand, a lot of parents also will neglect the power of play and how helpful that is to socialize kids and teach them hand-eye coordination. A lot of parents will straight up just neglect their kids in general, and give them only the bare minimum. a lot of that also has to do with just parents not having money. And of course, kids don't know that. I guess this isn't so much a news story, but TT Games, I guess, tweeted out a picture for a new collection. The Lego Marvel collection is apparently coming out. It is the combination of all the DLC and the base games for Lego Marvel superheroes, Lego Avengers, Lego Marvel Avengers, and Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. So this is probably the closest thing they could have done to the to be the equivalent of what the Lego Star Wars Complete Collection was. Although Lego Star Wars Complete Collection actually didn't even include Lego Star Wars 3. But yeah, we didn't see anything like that happen for the 2 Lego Indiana Jones games. We didn't really see that happen for the 2 Harry Potter games. We didn't see any kind of bundle come out for anything else. So that implies the Lego Marvel video game series has probably been a little bit more successful than some of those other ones, which is like, I still think those are all good games. I think almost every Lego game is a good game. It's just a matter of if you're buying it on a console or you're buying it on a PC, and it looks like this collection may just come out for like the PS4 and Xbox One and not come out for PC. I think I already own all that anyways, so I don't think anything would change there for me. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Apex Legends attracts 1 million unique players in less than 8 hours. A roadmap of new content planned for at least a year after EA enters the free-to-play Battle Royale foray. But of course the roadmap would be at least a year. Nobody's going to release a free-to-play game and not at least have the pretense of it lasting for a long time. On the other hand, Respawn is making Titanfall and or Apex Legends, and I still feel like there was something else Respawn should be making. So let's just Google Respawn and see what the Wikipedia article says on them, because I think they made like the Halo series or something, and they may not be interested in continuing to make that series. But if Apex Legends fails, I wouldn't be surprised if Respawn gets put out of business. Let's see. Respawn Entertainment is an American video game studio founded by Jason West and Vince Zampella, who created the Call of Duty franchise and at Infinity Ward, and was responsible for its development until 2010. So yeah, I imagine it's possible a lot of Call of Duty fans would prefer them to be making Call of Duty. The studio was acquired by EA on December 1st, 2017, which also means it hasn't been under EA's control for very long, so it could be shuttered at any time. Let's see what else games they've made. 2014 they made Titanfall instead of Call of Duty. 2016 they made Titanfall 2, which didn't really succeed.
The universe unravels.
Let's see. What do I need? I'll take that.
I found it first.
And we'll hit that.
Job done.
In 2019, they released Apex Legends, and they have an untitled virtual reality product for Windows, and apparently Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order has been to be announced. And Yeah, I bet that never comes out. Yeah, I could see Respawn being shuttered even if Apex Legends succeeds, quite frankly. But I guess if it succeeds hugely, they'll just be left to run it forever, for years and years. A couple of cards. I played out of order there.
I see you all.
I'm about to lose, but it may not matter because I may have played enough spell things. We can talk about this, although this is really just an advertisement for a game that's old, although it's a new version, and I've already covered most of it, although I haven't done the DLC. So we have the Talos Principle Gold Edition right now is 87% off. I think that's a pretty good deal. Honestly, $9.15 for the Prototype DLC, the Serious Sam DLC, the main game, and the Road to Gehenna, which you really only need the main game and the Road to Gehenna, but if you were to put those two together, you're still approaching $8 in price, so you're getting pretty good discount there. Probably, like, you really can't sell a brand new game at $10, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's really the appropriate value for it, since it's a pretty long puzzle game, but it is also just a puzzle game, and so you have to take that into account. And I'm done with the European account. Now let's move over to the Asian account. Gamatsu has an article, Dead or School for PS4 and Switch, aiming for an August release in Japan. I wonder if this is that same game that I saw on Steam, or if I'm thinking of a different game. We can do a bit of a web peek here, and it's showing us this anime girl with a what looks like a flamethrower and a big old canister of fuel in her back. Let's see. They're saying it's a side-scrolling action game. Let's see, do we want to re-roll something here? 5 minions that cost 1, 25 turns, 20 spells. I think 5 minions that cost 1 is kind of difficult. So we'll roll that. There we go. That's easy enough to do. These are really easy daily quests. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are no 50 gold quests coming out right now. Right. So spells. We're trying to play, so we should play as a mage anyways. The game which is currently Steam Early Access. The version on Steam Early Access is $11.99. I'm surprised this game is actually coming to the PS4 and Switch, particularly the PS4 at this point. Yeah, it looks like maybe they've got some new artwork too. Let me look at this, because this game is tagged nudity and sexual content. So, yeah, let's look at it before I flash it on YouTube. But Dead or School was interesting. It came out July 11th, 2018, and it was kind of right in the middle of the early days of their censorship. Steam's "we're not going to approve games" policies, or random enforcement on policies. Apparently an image here is not loading, and then it yeah, this looks like they put a lot more into their screenshots now. They've done something. By the way, this game is rated very positively, both in the last 30 days and and in the and overall. Alright, see, I think we can probably dance around this. Also, apparently now supports Japanese and Chinese language. Alright. Let's play. Okay. So here's Debtor School. This is a really fuzzy screenshot. And it's like a side-scroller beat 'em up game with some sexual content. But it's not too bad looking. In fact, it looks pretty nicely animated in some scenes. It's from a studio I've never heard of, but people seem to love it. It's $11.99. Final sell at early access, so apparently it's going to, this came out February 5th, so it's going to go up to $25 they say, but I frankly don't believe in being extorted on the price of games, and it's still early access, so no thanks to that. Can we do that right now?
Look how it burns! Me?
Job's done.
So yeah, I'm surprised Sony would even consider Debtor School, but apparently it is. Although, I also wouldn't be surprised if some developers of games just say it's coming to the PS4 because they've started early talks of it coming to the PS4, but they haven't gotten any contract signed or anything that would lock Sony into it. I bet Sony never signs a contract that says anything like, oh yeah, you have to publish this. We may actually enter a new return to unlicensed games that are playable on consoles, but if we were to do that, that would be via only modded jailbroken consoles, because it's not going to be as easy as the NES days when you could just bypass the security chip pretty easily, or if there even was a security chip. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Cardfight Vanguard EX announced a PS4 announced for PS4 Switch. It's due out in the fall of Japan. I don't know what Vanguard EX is, but I know a lot of card fighting games are still really popular in Japan and Asian countries. Maybe my What's on Steam Twitter feed is broken, or maybe I'm not watching it. I did go through my Twitter feed and I unfollowed and some people, just did a little bit of cleanup of some random people that I had followed, mostly esports teams that I had followed because of some giveaway, and I've fallen out of favor of spending any time or energy trying to win free games or free stuff. So yeah, that's not something I'm really doing anymore. Even like getting a free Steam code, it's not worth the effort these days, and I have so many games.
Squire, attend me.
Yeah, this game Vanguard EX looks fine. It's coming out PS4 and Switch this fall, but I don't know how popular it will be, because to my understanding, there's quite a few like collectible card games and such in Japan that are not super popular. Just things that are sold in vending machines. Next spell is +2. Control a secret. Play that. And
Someday I'll be just like you.
then play that.
Starlight.
Job's done.
Well played.
And do that.
Happy New Year.
Well fought. I can
Gamma Sutra has an article. Get a job. House Marquee is looking for a lead designer. That's in Helsinki, Finland. If you're interested in that. Gamasutra has an article. Microsoft Studios renamed to Xbox Game Studios in a bid for better branding. I think that's a smart move. Yeah, that makes sense. I think Xbox has better branding than Microsoft does, and frankly, Microsoft is just the boring old title for Windows and business services. I wouldn't want them to go as crazy as to say, instead of making Windows 11, they're going to make Xbox Operating System 1. Though that would be silly. Let's see. And what do we have? We have this card, which we can disenchant for 100 dust. I guess we won't disenchant this one. Apparently I don't have Fireworks Technicians on the Asian account. And I guess we're not really going to see any big change of gameplay styles on the Asian account, just because it's Lunar New Year. Maybe slightly fewer people are playing. I don't believe we played somebody who had the corrupting card back, though. Interesting. Let's go over to the shop just for a second. There's a New Year bundle. It doesn't come with a card back. And that's about it. What do we need to do? Play spells. Let's hope that this hunter deck is Spell Hunter. Or let's save ourselves some frustration and just go look and see what it is. Spell, 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 spell. That seems like a Spell Hunter deck if I ever saw one. Trying as fast as possible to move quickly. Let's see. So it would be really ridiculous if now named Xbox Game Studios got changed back to Microsoft Studios, or if they gave up on the Xbox branding, or if Xbox was spun off as its own company. I don't think any of that has any chance of happening. But yeah, there I guess might have been a small chance that instead of making an Xbox 2, they would change the name, but it's not a lot. Quite frankly.
You asked for it.
Let the hunt begin.
Let's see. Yeah, we already talked about that, so I don't need to reference that tweet. Somebody tweeting about Daedalic's big plans. Of course, Daedalic is a German company, so the tweet was in German. So, Gamasutra, we already talked about this article, so we don't need to talk about that. It was from the same place. Let's see. Discover secret. That. And any reason to really play this right now? I don't think so. So let's just end the turn. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Take-Two CEO on the Epic Store. Quote, competition is a good thing, end quote. But they're, quote, better placed to be where the consumer is rather than indicating where they need to be. This quote is probably a direct quote that reads very awkwardly. I think it should read, but there are better places to be where the consumer is rather than indicating where they need to be. Even at that still doesn't really make sense. I think what he's trying to say is competition within Steam itself is good, instead of forcing people via time exclusive to go to the Epic Store. Let's see if I can pull any more sense out of that sentence. A lot of these articles are terribly written. Either that or I'm just forgotten how to read English. Here, there's a quote. We think it's very difficult to try and attract consumers only through a wholly owned captive site, he tells us. Yeah, well, okay. We'll do that. And let's go and do this. And we'll take that. What does this guy do? I guess we'll do that. There's another quote here. That's not how consumers shop. To use an analogy that doesn't speak to our business, if you read Random House books, I presume you can get them directly through Random House, but you probably don't. You probably go to Amazon or other sites. So if you have something incredibly powerful, then I suppose you can say to the customers that it's only available here. But generally speaking, when it comes to broad-based entertainment offerings, you are better placed to be where the consumer is. Okay, in the longer sentence that they quote mine, it kind of makes sense. Rather than indicating to the consumer where they need to be. Yeah, only when fully quoted does that sentence make sense. What do we want to do? Let's do this first. And then do this. And then do that. Do that.
I hunt alone.
Let's kill that guy. Let's see. The quote continues, if your focus is solely on capturing retail margin, then you have to be very convinced you're going to be a great retailer. That's not something that's in our DNA. We make entertainment. We're really not a retailer. And remember, this is take two. See, what's funny is they quote him in the title. Well, I guess maybe they do a better job of quoting him later on, but yeah, it's a mess. Definitely a mess. As for the Epic Store quote, from our point of view, we don't see another retailer as disruptive. We want to be where the consumer is, and if there's a competitive offering that benefits consumers, generally speaking, if the business model makes sense for us, we will support it. We want to be where the consumer is. We see competition on the retail side to be a good thing. It just means more distribution. So that's almost a confirmation that Take-Two would not be interested in an exclusive deal. Like, they'll be on the Epic Store, which was fine by me. I never was gonna complain about somebody going to the Epic Store and coming to Steam. I don't think anybody legitimately can make much of an argument against that. It's just the timed exclusives that were the problem. Let's see. Is there anything else? There's a quote here. We didn't see the kind of disruption in the last shift that we have seen in prior disruptions. And this was around the displacement from moving from one generation to the next. One generation to the next, I assume, of consoles. Can we do this? What does this one do? Whenever secrets played. Let's do this. And then do this.
Hunt alone.
There we go. Yeah, this article goes on to talk about new platforms. So I quote here, I'm not trying to imply developing for a new platform doesn't require work. It does. I'm not suggesting there's no dislocation, but I am observing that in the last 2 iterations, it did not persist a problem for us. We continued to grow and we continued to succeed. At the bottom here it says, Take-Two has a busy year planned with a major unannounced title from 2K Games, plus new games from the private Division label, Outer Worlds, and Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. I wonder if there might have been a way to avoid getting marked by Hakar, besides just not playing. And I think the answer to that is probably no. You probably wouldn't want to risk doing it anyways. I just need to play some more spells and some more turns. This very possibly could be the last game we really need to play. And there's not a lot of news. GameIndustry.biz, Tomb Raider and Just Cause fail to offset wider declines at Square Enix. Digital entertainment sales rise in the final quarter of 2018, but the company's income still plummets. I'm not sure that there's anything more in this article to really say. It says profits are down 60.1% year on year. Is that the same as year over year? Probably. From 203.5 million to 81.3 million. There are a myriad of factors behind this decline, including lower sales and the income from the merchandising business. Wow, I didn't realize that Square Enix was so focused on making so much money from merchandising. Let's trade that one out and see if we can get 2 of these. Let's see. Lower operating income in its amusements business. I guess maybe Square Enix runs a bunch of arcades in Japan. I bet they do. And an overall decline in digital entertainment, which handles its video games. So 2 companies, both Square Enix and EA, not making a lot of success or having a lot of success in the last part of last year, and that's not super surprising. Like, so many games came out, it flooded the market in 2018, and none of them were super amazing. Like, I think people probably would say Red Dead Redemption 2 was the best game of 2018 if you just asked them today and they didn't remember what they said in December. And it's probably it'd probably be hard to ask them, well, what are the other 3 most successful games that came out in 2018? Because it's just all come and gone, and people have forgotten about everything already.
To my side. I hunt alone.
Square Enix in particular has a uphill battle. I mean, they have Kingdom Hearts 3, certainly, and that could make them a lot of money, but it also very potentially is going to be a scenario where where Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't make them enough money, and Final Fantasy 7 is not in a good place or never going to get released, and Final Fantasy 15 has already been abandoned, and Final Fantasy Dissidia, the online MMO, is probably not getting that much support. And yeah, so I could probably go through the entire list of Square Enix games, recent Square Enix games, and give you a reason why each one of them are potentially in trouble. Gamer Sutra has an article. Platinum Games contract ends. They're no longer working on Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. We already got this story. The only thing that's slightly different in this is that it says the contract's ended, which of course I guess that would be all you would really say. Destroy a random minion. Summon 4 wheels. Gamer Sutra has an article. Kingdom Hearts 3 ships 5 million copies a week after launch. So that'll help Square Enix a little bit. Although, as far as people that have actually tried to explain what's going on in Kingdom Hearts 3 and the series in general, it really isn't inspiring me to ever want to play that series. I did play Kingdom Hearts 1 for a little bit, but like you would have to take, I don't know what you could do. Like the story's not good is part of the problem, so you can't just take the story in this instance and say, okay, that's good. Let's just show you an anime video of what happened in the story instead of making you play a game. The gameplay is just repetitive JRPG stuff, which I prefer to play an Idea Factory like Neptunia game instead. If I was gonna have my pick there, if I'm just gonna play a random JRPG, let's do this and do this.
Job's done.
I don't particularly care too much about Mickey Mouse that I'd want to play a game just because I have Mickey Mouse in it. I don't particularly care any about like I don't particularly care about Final Fantasy-esque characters, so I don't think I'd want to do anything there. Alright, is that a 10? Yeah, it's gonna be straight up a 10. I played poorly on that one. And let's see. Taunt. And we just gotta play this and hope it kills this guy. Got lucky. 50-50 shot. TechRaptor has an article. Monster Energy Supercross 2 review. Getting the whole shot. This looks like a Supercross bike racing game with realistic graphics. It's not really what I would have thought it was good. It would have been by that name. I would have thought it more would have been of an arcadey, more fun-oriented experience. Alright. Or more cartoony experience is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Alright.
Job's done.
Anyways, they gave it a 7.0, very good. I don't know why 7.0 is very good on a scale. Staying true to the sport, Monster Energy Supercross 2 provides a thrilling race. However, it's a standard package with little that stands out beyond riding itself. Pros: fantastic wet tracks, intense first-person riding, unique race structure. Cons: limited career mode, lacking presentation, and occasional lag. Yeah, I don't really see anything here, and I guess we can do a web peek because there's really no reason not to. But Poisonous Inrush. Get it out there. So yeah, here's what the game looks like. And nothing particularly unique here. Just like a motocross racing game. Okay. Alright, let's do this.
Here comes the big axe!
So either this guy is playing Mechathune against me, or he's just screwing with me. What's this? Well, that's not anything interesting or worth mentioning. I don't know how why I opened that page. Okay. Secrets revealed. Charge. Deal 2 damage. Attack here. Here. And there. Gamma Sutra has an article. Get a job. Join the St. Jude Play Live team as a video game community specialist. This is in Memphis, Tennessee. That might be something that some people could do if they wanted to kind of work in the video game industry but couldn't be an animator or programmer or voice actor or something like that. This game seems like you need public speaking skills, require knowledge of fundraising and public relations, understand difficult verbal and written instructions, data processing, must have a valid driver's license. This is probably closer to an entry-level job than you might think, but heck, it might be something you could do. I wouldn't move for a job like this, but if you were a YouTuber and you had succeeded somewhat and you were in Memphis, Tennessee, you might apply to it. Alright, so I believe that's everything. So let's just play one more game. And we won, so let's ride the streak and continue to win. I think we won. If we didn't win, I'd be surprised by that. Let's see. Game Industry .biz has an article. EA confirms new premium Titanfall game coming this year as Apex Legends hits 2.5 million. I think we reported on an article that was a day earlier that said they had hit 1 million, so it's still growing very strongly. I bet it might be up to 3 or 4 million right now. As Apex Legends hits 2.5 unique players, EA revealed that Respawn will develop a, quote, truly creative take on what Titanfall is in a premium context. Which I guess means that they probably did have Titanfall 3 in development after all. So I don't know why you would really not just say that at the beginning. I guess maybe there was a slight feeling that if Apex Legends just failed miserably in the first attempt in the launch, that they would cancel Titanfall 3. But if they have it already close enough where it'll be finished by this year, that's so far in their development, that's not realistic that you would cancel the game.
To my side. I hunt alone.
Gamatsu has an article. Karigurashi Renai for the PS4 and PS Vita is now has a demo now available in Japan. This looks like a visual novel. With these names, I should just start doing the web peek. Quite frankly, where's my mouse cursor? Way over there. Yeah, way over here. So here's the name of the game. A demo is out. Here's the one screenshot. It's a visual novel of some sort. Will it come to the West? Who knows? Let's go ahead and play that. Oh, that was a mistake. I should have done that. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Yumi Nikki Dream Diary for the Switch launch. My mouse is... Either my wrist or my mouse is not wanting to move much today. Yumi Nikki Dream Diary for the Switch launches February 21st in the West. They have the launch trailer. Yumi Nikki Dream Diary was the updated, like, re-release of the original Yumi Nikki game, and people didn't really like it as much, even though the original Yumi Nikki was a RPG Maker game. So, I mean, we could go over to the Steam page here. Let me look at the Steam page and see what the reviews are on this right now. Yeah. People just were not a fan of it at all. This guy is doing a lot of damage to me. Can I play both of these? Sure. Do we want to do some damage here? This guy is hankering to, like, clearly he's working towards doing something. Changing his health to his attack position.
Job's done.
So yeah, here's Yumi Nikki Dream Diary. You can see it's, can't read that number, is that 66% positive on the reviews for $9.99. I still would probably play this game at some point, maybe. It depends on if I play the first game in the series, or the original game, and decide if I find anything interesting with that. Alright.
I hunt alone.
It's got plenty of cards left.
Job's done.
GameIndustry.biz has an article. Battlefield 5 sold 7.3 million, but it missed EA's forecast. Launch delay and lack of Battle Royale priority, the reason for the 1 million sales shortfall, says EA. So they're not attributing any of that to the fact that there is an unrealistic cybernetic woman on the cover, and the CEO of EA told people, if you don't like what we're selling, then don't buy it. Like, no talk of that at all. 7.3 million units, I think probably a significant of that portion of that. Let's say, I would bet at least 3 million of that was people turned off by the unrealisticness and bad attitude of the creators, and then 4.3 of it could easily have been just because of burnout of people not really wanting to play a Battlefield 5 game yet again. And the delay certainly probably didn't help anything, but the delay may have been done intentionally just to have something to blame at that point, but I think it was actually just to move it out of line of something else. So let me just go through the news, because there's only a little bit here and I don't want to play another game. Gamatsu has an article. The NES Nintendo Switch Online adds Kirby Adventure and Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Bros. 2 on February 13th. Japan is also getting this game, Supari Uzumu. I don't know what Supari Izumi is. A Tecmo game. So slowly but surely you're getting these NES games that you could have had a long time ago. Let's see. We don't really need to talk about OpenCritic and their loot box badge anymore. GameIndustry.biz has an article. ESA says the proposed Pennsylvania video game tax is, quote, a violation of the U.S. Constitution. And apparently courts have been following down on this somewhat, where they're they do seem to make a lot of arguments against direct taxes as being unconstitutional. That's there's a plan being thrown out there to put a 70% tax on just how much money rich people have in general, and that's been a plan that I've probably talked about a lot. I probably mentioned it several times over the last few years, where it was just like 100% tax on every dollar you have over $1 billion. So all money that above that just gets taxed. Or sometimes I thought maybe you do 50% of all your money over $1 billion. So slightly different plan. This proposed Pennsylvania video game tax is a 10% tax on mature and adult rated games, revised after death in committee last year. This specifically will not stand. As a sin tax idea, it won't stand because there have already been court cases that have said this does not work. It's not constitutional because it violates the freedom of speech clause, the First Amendment of the Constitution. It's saying that the U.S. government has the capability to tax things they don't like in an art form while not taxing other things. So Pennsylvania could put a 10% tax on video games. Nobody's going to really argue that, or very few will. But they can't put a tax on violent video games, they can't put a tax on mature video games, they can't put a tax on adult rated games, particularly since the ESRB is not a government organization, so that would be weird in the first place. And this has happened multiple times already. It's been knocked down, so it's a waste of taxpayers' money to be paying congressmen in Pennsylvania, in the Pennsylvania Congress, to make up these taxes and these laws. Or if these are city taxes, it's a waste of your taxpayers' money to be paying city officials to make up these taxes. The only thing I think is you could make an argument that there's alcohol taxes and there are tobacco taxes, but that's on like all kinds of alcohol, or at least a broad enough kind of alcohol. I'm not sure if there really is a law that's a porn tax, because that probably would fail if challenged too. Like, I've heard of people trying to do that. I'm not sure it's actually ever worked. Let's see. And this is just the same old. Here's a quote. Numerous authorities, including scientists, medical professional, government agencies, and the U.S. Supreme Court found that video games do not cause violence. We encourage Pennsylvania legislators to work with us to raise awareness about parental controls and the ESRB video game rating system, which are effective tools to ensure parents maintain control of the video games played in their home. I wouldn't phrase it that way. I'd say played by their children, because that opens the door to the thought, oh yeah, they're going over to their friend's house and playing M-rated games, which is not happening very often. Or it's not something that's going to be controlled or reduced in any way. Gamatsu has the Crackdown 3 launch trailer and opening movie. Terry Crews being the voice actor and basically the likeness that's being used in Crackdown 3 is interesting. Terry Crews, of course, came out and said he was sexually assaulted or harassed by at a random party by like a Hollywood type person. I don't know the full story. I don't remember it. That kind of made some weird heat. I wouldn't immediately call it negative heat, but weird heat nonetheless for him. But he's been, I think, mostly silent. Wow, that's not how I meant to phrase that, but he hasn't really been in the news much about that. So I think nobody's going to really remember that as they're enjoying Crackdown 3 on the Xbox One and PC on February 15th. I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, in which he's on, and he's still very funny on that show, and I'm still liking it. Variety has another article talking about the Pennsylvania lawmakers' debate to do a syntax on video games. So if you wanted to read the Variety article, this is House Bill number 109, and it will probably not even make it out of the House, but shouldn't, like, a lot of these legislators should not be wasting government time putting out these bills that will never succeed, and they know they will never succeed, and it's just virtue signaling for politicians to get people to vote for them. A website called TubeFilter has an article. YouTube hits 2 billion monthly users as the number of channels with 1 million subscribers doubled last year. That doesn't really mean anything to me, though. Gamma Sutra has an article. Vivox's coming software development kit will bring text and voice chat to the Nintendo Switch devs. So anybody that uses Vivox's software will actually be able to allow text and voice chat in their games. It's not platform wide though, so some games will have it, some games won't. And it's worth mentioning that that Fortnite developers Epic just bought Vivox. This was probably already in the works, clearly, the SDK for Switch, but that's more money. Let's see. Is there anything? Some kind of third-party store called Hatch has come out and worked with Docomo to bring games to Japan. Let's see. Hatch receives minority investment from Japan's leading mobile operator as part of a collaboration to bring the 5G cloud gaming revolution to Japanese consumers. I can see in Japan streaming games working a lot more than in other countries. Sorry, this is not showing a lot right now. Trying to wrap up here. There's only 2 more tabs. TechRaptor has an article. The Witcher writer has been offered extra compensation from CD Projekt Red, so I imagine he made a big enough stink to get some money out of it. It was last year he demanded a further $16.1 million in royalties for the series book which he worked on. At the time, CD Projekt Red rejected the demands, saying the demands were, quote, the demands expressed in this notice are groundless, end quote. But I imagine CD Projekt Red wants this to go away before Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. So, let's see. The third paragraph in this. Both parties have agreed to the new amount and, according to their representative, have done amicably. Let's see. The amount is less than asked for. It is considering more than they're obliged to give. So they gave him something, but they're not saying what it was, just to shut him up. And I mean, maybe that's a good idea, maybe it isn't, because he may very well just come back and ask for more money later. GameIndustry.biz has an article. Resident Evil 2's triumphant debut in the EMEAA charts. Capcom's remake tops physical download and combined bestseller lists. I don't know what the EMEAA list is. Is that a let's see, I guess this is the Interactive Software Federation of Europe, so this must be European media or something. So yeah, it's The list here is Resident Evil 2, then FIFA, then Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, Red Dead 2, Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2, never heard of that game, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then Ace Combat 7. Apparently, Ace Combat 7 is very anime with its storyline, and that's where the cutscenes were certainly interesting me too. And then 10 is Rainbow Six Siege, which that's been around on the list for a while. Let's see. Yeah, this is quite a breakdown of, like, digital sales include all of these places, and physicals include all of these places. So it's not just Europe though. The United Arab Emirates is not in Europe. South Africa is not in Europe. Turkey's not in Europe. Russia's, I guess maybe you'd say Russia's in Europe. Saudi Arabia's not. So it's like a combined everybody everywhere except for the United States and the Americas list. Interesting. These charts come and go. And then the last tab I had is just a Gamma Sutra talking about the Pennsylvania legislators wanting to slap a tax on mature games. And then that takes me to the Humble Bundle store, which I'll just take a quick look here and see that, well, there's a Spawn bundle. There's a Paradox 2019 bundle. Alright. Let's just show this. Paradox Interactive 2019 Humble Bundle. You have Age of Wonder, Darkest Hour, Magicka 2, Crusader Kings 2 for $1. Probably not a bad deal there, but I'll probably skip all that. Then Age of Wonders 3 if you pay more than the average, which is right now $6.46. You get an expansion to Crusader Kings 2 in Europa Universalis 4. If you pay $12 or more, you get Steel Division or Age of Wonders. And if you're going to pay $12 or more, you should wait till the last second so you don't raise the average price. Magicka 2 Deluxe Edition DLC, Europa Universalis El Dorado DLC. So yeah, not anything amazingly interesting on those on that offering for me. Like, none of those games are anything that I'd break down the door to play. And while we're going through it, because you know Friday's not going to be any better with news than today is, let's look at my Twitter feed. You know what? No, I'm not going to do this. I've already made you sit and watch this for too long with no content. Let's end this stream. That's it for this recording and this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Anything you gift right now during the Steam Lunar Sale will give you about 11% more tokens. So if you do gift games or gift cards to me right now, you'll get more tokens, which will lead to more money off that you could buy if you buy enough games during that sale. So that's something to think about. And you know, the sale's going on, so the games are discounted anyways. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.